sisters are engaged, and there is not another woman in the room whom it would not be a punishment to me to stand up with. I would not be so fastidious as you are, cried Bingley, for a kingdom. Upon my honour, I never met with so many pleasant girls in my life as I have this evening, and there are several of them, you see, uncommonly pretty. You are dancing with the only handsome girl in the room, said Mr. Darcy, looking at the eldest Miss Bennet. Oh, she is the most beautiful creature I ever beheld. But there is one of her sisters sitting down just behind you, who is very pretty, and I dare say very agreeable. Do let me ask my partner to introduce you. Which do you mean? And turning round, he looked for a moment at Elizabeth, till catching her eye, he withdrew his own, and coldly said, She is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me, and I am in no humour at present to give consequence to young ladies who are slighted by other men. You had better return to your partner and enjoy her smiles, for you are wasting your time with me.
That's cute.
Oh goodness, I did not... I'm sorry.
No, you're okay, It's a library, you're allowed to read books.
Well, true. I didn't realize someone came in.
I just arrived. You don't happen to have seen Virgil around?
Not since he flew off to go looking for Pietro, no.
Ah, you were there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Wait, how do you know? Did you meet either of them? Did you meet Armor? How do you know about the...
I think Pietro was looking for some, I guess, company or something to do after, and I happened to cross their path, and they're okay. I think they will be.
Oh, thank goodness. That's good to hear.
They might need a bit more time to get their feathers settled down. They were quite worried about hurting someone.
That is fair. They didn't, for the record. She didn't. Armor was fine. But I'm glad to hear that Pietro is okay. That is one significant worry less.
The least I could do is try and give her an outlet to get his stress out. So we flew off a little bit a ways and collected some flowers for more paints and ink.
That's good. Sorry, it's been a moment. Virgil and I were a bit concerned, so the deal was Virgil is out looking for Pietro, and I was going to stay here in case she came back, which is why I was up there reading.
She left in the early morning last night, but she seemed to be doing a little better, a little less frazzled than what she was when she first appeared before me, but again, it might take a bit of time. But
that's understandable. I'm just very relieved to hear that he's okay.
It was Elwood, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and you're Erin.
Yes,
we met
exactly.
at two parties, ironically enough.
Yeah, ironically enough, yes, but I don't think I've had much chance to talk to you. One of them was quite the event, with the beacon going down and the creatures appearing, and the other was kind of focused on someone else.
True, yes. But that is the sense of a birthday party, I presume.
I guess so too, but would you, I guess, like some company?
Sure. I've pretty much just been talking to the birds.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't... Virgil says they should understand me. I'm not entirely sure, but they seem to enjoy Kite and Prejudice, so...
I can hear them singing a little bit. They seem quite interested.
Yeah, I assumed since they are Virgil's birds, I presumed that they would appreciate some literature. I don't know if ravens can. The non-avian kind, I don't know if they have an understanding of literature, but they are library ravens. So if any ravens do, I presume it would be them.
Mm-hmm. I know it was kind of your, I guess, deal to stay here and wait and see if Pietros comes back. Did you want to stay here or maybe stretch your wings a little bit? I have a tea area I can...
Tea would be lovely. As long as I do not have to fly there.
Unless you want coffee, there's one right there.
Nope. Coffee, decidedly not. Not a fan of the taste. Not a fan of the... It is too
energy.
Fast. It is too fast and it's too nervous. And I have seen too many people on coffee to particularly want to indulge myself.
I'm not very coffee is alright. I am just not a big fan of the energy crash afterwards.
That is fair. The smell is nice, but I don't particularly... I just don't like it as much. But tea would be lovely. And since you said that Pietro is doing fine, I suppose if I'm not here, then Ha can just tell Virgil that they are fine if he comes back in my absence.
In that case, you said you didn't want to fly?
No, I don't fly.
Fair enough.
Unless absolutely forced to.
Good things we have more than enough steps around Bright Step.
Indeed. Out of all of the places I could have crashed into a telescope, this was definitely one of the better ones.
You crashed into a telescope?
Yes. When I say I don't fly, I mean I don't fly unless I absolutely have to, and then I fly until I quite literally physically crash. And in this case, I crashed into Virgil's telescope. Which I suppose is how I landed at the library. Since that is where it's located.
In that case, it might be a little bit of a walk, but it's actually right next to Run's place.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't mind a walk. I kind of walk everywhere, if it's at all possible. Not too fond of the existential dread that comes with flying for me personally.
Not a fan of heights?
No, the heights are fine. It's because of my species.
Oh?
Starlings they flock in these ginormous groups called murmurations, and I never really had one. And I'm very aware of that every time I fly. It just sort of feels wrong and empty, I guess.
As much as being an avian and having wings is quite the bonus, the advantage sometimes. I guess the bird instincts that come with it sometimes are not as pleasant.
True enough. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring down the.
No, you're.
I feel
fine.
like people are always confused and weirded out when I talk about why I don't fly. It sounds worse, I think, than it is.
Is this the best way, or is going through the village better? Are you okay with stairs?
Yes, I am.
Okay, then in that case, going through the village might be better. But you said you don't really have, I guess... I don't remember the word you said, but I'm guessing it's... Memoration, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that's kind of a synonym to flock.
It is the specific term for starling flock, yes.
Okay. Well, to be honest, I haven't really had one for myself, but I do have some flamingos in the stairs.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, so many. Goodness.
But I do have these little bird spirits that tend to follow me around, and I guess what I'm trying to ask is, would it be alright if I talk to them sometime? I promise I'm not talking to anyone invisible.
Of course, I don't mind. Pietro has their bookworms, and Virgil has the dust bunnies, which I am still maintaining. I'm not sure if those are real, but mostly because the idea of sentient dust is a bit unsettling.
You know what? I think someone has technically sentient sparks as well around here, and that confused me very much the first time I heard about it.
Fair enough. But yes, you are up. Of course you can speak to your spirit birds. That's not a problem by me at all.
Then in that case, they say hello to you.
I suppose I say hello back.
They
Even
can
though
hear
I can't
you.
see him.
Yeah, seem pretty much like I'm the only one, I think.
I mean, that makes sense that spectral birds would be invisible to most people.
Mm-hmm. But welcome to what I call tea time.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. I had some help from Rune and Sylph a few months ago.
That makes sense. I wouldn't have picked Sylph as a tea drinker particularly.
Well, Sylph drinks sugar.
Yes, that makes more sense for a hummingbird.
They did tell me recently, though, that they like the taste of my tea, even if they put a little less sugar in them. But feel free to help yourself. Mm-hmm. There is some a barrel over here with some extra. I'm definitely forgot that I'm due for more, but please take your fill. There's some sugar, there's some honey, some extra cups, and feel free to take as many as you like. Sitting areas, we have benches, swings. I know there's like 2 front-facing, a little bit over there, if you want to just sit and talk.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Even more little birds. At least this one is at a logical location. We have now at least 2 pelicans at the library. Only one of which we know why he is there.
Yeah, I think I remember it being Pietro's.
Yes, Pietro has one, and then there is suddenly another one that we don't know how it got there. It is just roaming the premises.
To be fair, I think Pietro was hoarding some mystery eggs for quite a bit.
Well, that would make sense.
I'm not surprised that some of them might have hatched in secret locations and have started causing a bit of trouble.
Yes, perhaps. She did also hatch some other eggs on accident, so now there's also more owls and a blue-footed booby as well.
I've seen a few of those around sometimes.
Yeah. But I suppose it at any rate it makes the library more lively, I suppose.
I'm sorry if I don't have many types of teas. I've been
No,
keeping
this
it more floral, mostly, but if you have any preferences, I can definitely try to make some more if you'd like.
This is perfect.
Thank you. Can I ask something that might be a little random?
Of course. I can't promise I'll have an answer, but you're free to.
At a vast party, you know Mojave, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did you punch them at some point? I think I remember seeing you punch them. Was everything okay?
Well, to be fair, they asked to be punched because they wanted to get hungry.
Yeah.
But I suppose
You hit with a purpose, though.
I may be currently not as fond of them.
As fond?
They and I knew each other 4 or 5 years ago. We first met, and I guess we are sort of siblings. I say I guess because I didn't realize that they returned the sentiment until I re-met them here, but I don't think they realize that I'm not a child. They have a way about them where they will... They gave Virgil a weird sort of shovel talk, which is insane considering that is not... They gave him a whole spiel of stay away from my brother if you're gonna involve him in your conspiracy shit, and it's your fault if he's in danger because you put a target on his back because you told him about the Avicane, even though I was the one that wanted to know things. And they just... Sorry, that was...
No,
Sorry.
it's okay. I can understand the intent of wanting to protect someone you care about, but at that point, you're a grown person. You can make your own decisions, and even if Mojave considers you a little sibling, what are they gonna do?
Thank you. That is exactly what I mean. And I just... They have this patronizing air about them. And I don't understand why they keep doing it. And it also doesn't make sense. I'm not the only one that's going to be affected by whatever is going on with the Avicane, because clearly the entire town is affected by proximity to Vast and armor. So just
honestly, the more I talk to people, the more I realize how omnipotent the Avicane seems to be and how many people seems to know about them and be involved with them.
Exactly. So I don't understand Mojave's whole... You shouldn't even know about them. Even just knowing their name could be dangerous for you. As if not knowing about them is going to take me out of the danger that I am by knowing people who are or were in that sort of insane cult. Sorry, I promise I'm not usually this.
You're okay. I guess this is a bit of an area if you want to let out some extra emotions or just ramble, I guess.
I don't know. I feel bad for, I don't know, making people seem to think that Mojave is different than they are. I feel like I'm casting a bad light on them. But also I'm really irritated with them right now.
To be fair, I met Mojave quite a few years ago, and it They were quite different from what I remember them being.
How were they then?
Witty, quick, with both their hands and their tongue, but a lot of stealing and distractions. But
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I guess they were a little less of a mother hen from what you seem to be telling me.
They didn't used to be quite this bad when I first knew them. They were still sort of filling, I guess, an older sibling role, but they didn't... They stole my binder a few months ago.
Binder as in like the book thing, or
chest
binder as...
Chest binder.
I see.
And
Do you have one now?
Yes, I went and had the peafowl yell at me for unsafe binding behavior, and then they made me a new one.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I knew I needed to replace it. It was just I wasn't quite mentally at a point where I was ready for it, I guess.
Mm.
And then they took that choice away by just stealing it. And it's a lot of those small things, and they didn't used to be like that. They didn't used to treat me... Ironically, when I still was, I guess, technically a child. I guess at 17 I was technically still a child. They treated me less like one than they do now. Which is irritating.
I guess I have a lot more conversations to have with Mo and a lot more time to spend with them to see how that's changed and see why it's changed.
Well, if they make true on their thread of weekly family dinners, then we might have have a chance of that earlier.
Yeah, I've heard about that from Armor.
Yes, they... the idea in theory is nice, but I don't think it is necessary to do it weekly.
Yeah.
Which they did threaten to.
I think weekly might be a lot... I did not mean to get up. Weekly might be quite a bit to start with, especially since you seem to have quite the emotions about it.
I just don't see that it's necessary, I suppose. I don't know how to do the family thing. I never really...
To be fair, I don't really either.
I don't know. I guess we will see when they make true on that thread how disastrous or how not disastrous that would turn out. I don't know.
And I'll try to be at least... I'll try to be optimistic about it and say that it shouldn't be too bad.
Optimism is definitely a good way to approach this. And to be fair, at least when they originally proposed the idea, the family would have just been them and I. And now, I mean, we've got you, apparently, and we've got Armor, and who knows how many more people they've managed to adopt since then.
I don't ever think I've considered myself part of the family, but if you think I do...
I mean, if you want to. I suppose if Mojave brought up the family dinner thing, then I think they definitely consider you part of the family.
I haven't had a good chat with them in at least a good week or two, but...
Fair.
I think it'd be nice at least to, I guess, spend time with people.
I suppose.
And actually possibly know what the family is like and see if you have people you can depend on and can depend on you too.
Yes, I suppose that would be... I don't know, in books it feels like a nice thing. But that is the closest I've ever really gotten to it. I guess other than the time with Mojave and Mirasol when I was a teenager. Or I guess observing Virgil and Pietro, but they are a different constellation of family.
Speaking of Virgil, was he wearing his new clothes?
Oh yes, he mentioned that you helped dye them.
Mm-hmm. I had some extra flower petals around and I did my best.
Well, they turned out... Red is a good color on him, so...
I thought it brought out the kind of red sheen in their wings a lot better.
Yes, I suppose I didn't particularly look at his feathers specifically, but I would imagine that more red would do that.
I guess so.
So you do dyes and paints and things then?
Mostly, yes.
I did see your workshop in the upper level of the library.
It's not really a shop, but whenever the library needed ink, especially when it was still being built and still getting filled with books, I guess Pietro and Virgil made me a little station there, so it was a lot easier to make the ink. I certainly wouldn't want to fly from my little area and then to the library and just drop all of the ink on the way, so...
Fair enough, especially flying with a bunch of small glass vials. I can't imagine that to be the most relaxed of experiences.
I also can't see glass.
Oh
Yeah.
Yes, that would make things very much more difficult. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. I am very lucky I have my flog because most of the time they just kind of perch on the, like, I guess the rim, the top of the glasses, so at least I know where they are.
Oh goodness, how do you deal with the mirror floor in the library then? That must just look like a pitch into the abyss.
I don't. The only way I know it's like mirrored and not weird is because since there's a spiral staircase, since it's mirrored, it goes the other way around.
That's fair. If it bothers you too much, maybe I can ask Virgil to put some carpet there or something, like a bridge.
I can see some tints to some degree, and well, it's been quite a couple of months since I started going there, so I got used to it. But like I said, I can see sometimes a little bit of the tint, so if I look closely, I can see the difference between the upper and lower wood, where there's the glass.
Fair enough. I never considered that being a trait avians could have, but it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just got the mimicking and the murmuration and the moss and flowers from being.
I think I also got the when birds hear music, when they're next to a jukebox, they kind of start dancing.
Oh goodness.
I am very bad with that.
I mean, there are worse things. There's worse instincts you could have.
Yes.
Dance does not seem like... Unless your name is Darcy, I don't think dance is a particularly bad trait to have.
Darcy?
Sorry, There's a character in Kite and Prejudice whose name is Mr. Darcy, and he is a grump and doesn't particularly enjoy dancing.
I see.
So... Sorry, I get very... I don't even know why I started reading this book. I read it before. I'm not usually one, I guess, for romance, but it is... For one, it is a classic, and it is well written. And it just felt like a good book to read right now, so my brain is partially occupied with the characters again.
Mm-hmm. It's a good book to read, especially to the ravens.
I mean, to be fair...
At the entrance of the library.
To be fair, they didn't say anything in the contrary. Before I read Kite and Prejudice, I did read them Wesley the Owl.
Wesley the Owl?
But then I was... And yesterday I read them and Tango Makes Three, which is technically a children's book, but they seem to enjoy that one, and so this morning I upgraded to Wesley the Owl, and then we were through with that, so I started reading them Kite and Prejudice. And they seemed... Ravens, the bird version, are very hard to read if you do not speak Raven. So I sincerely hope that and enjoyed these books, because...
You say their names very well.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I don't think my throat is made. I feel like I say her's name too aggressively. I don't know. It doesn't sound quite right, but it's... Virgil says as long as I try, they are going to be appreciative, so I hope that is true.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
One of my spirits earlier asked about your scarf. Do you wear it often?
I suppose I do. I kind of I don't have a whole lot of clothes, so I guess it's usually there. I bought it at a small market some few years ago because it was cold and I needed something warmer.
To be fair, the library is on a winter skyland biome, if I remember correctly. So
I wouldn't know the specific term of the biome, so that's not my forte, but it is cold out there. I mean, inside the library is fine, but outside is really cold.
Yeah. Though, I think my specialty is more with the biomes. I think a long time ago, the biomes weren't exactly the same, and now with the islands falling, I at least want to try and keep track of those I can find and kind of, I guess, document them a little bit.
That makes sense. It's sort of like what I do with stories. Technically that is what I guess do the most, is I research stories and legends and mythology, and I try to reconstruct them as best as I can. We have so many stories that are so old, from before the islands fell, before everything went awful. Certainly from before there were void-sick creatures that tried to kill everybody.
Yeah! Yeah.
And I suppose documenting what was feels important. And it feels like an important way we can learn about who we are as a people today, I guess. To understand the present, I think we need to understand what came before. Be that in the way we built, or what nature looked like, or what animals there were, or what stories people were telling.
Mm-hmm. Kind of reminds me how around here, before coming here, I was so used to seeing like buildings with either like perches, kind of like the roost at the library, or just like outside openings, or just having so many buildings on the side that people could fly into. But here, I was so surprised by how many places you can get by walking and by entering from the ground.
Yes, I mean, I suppose between Runthian and Nemo, who don't really have a choice but to fly, but to walk. I'm getting it all mixed up. And people like me who prefer not to fly. It is
Accommodating?
Yes. Yes, exactly. Really, yeah. But it's interesting seeing, I don't know, a community that cares enough for every member to make it accessible for avians and non-avian.
Sorry, I punched that on accident.
It's all good. I didn't particularly notice.
I'm happy I got to stay here. I was kind of threatened to leave a few months ago, but...
By whom? Who would do that?
Vast.
Okay, I can see them doing that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I hear very conflicting things about her. On the one hand, she shoved me aside when the monsters attacked, and I am grateful for that. On the other hand, Virgil talks about having been on stabbing terms with him.
Yeah, I heard from Pietro yesterday.
That is such a bad way of phrasing it. And Virgil does not seem to understand that that is the worst way of referring to that instance in time. On stabbing terms with someone. That is incredibly disconcerting.
Yeah, that's... Just say I thought Vas was on stabbing terms with me for a bit.
Oh, goodness.
First time we met, Vas swooped on me and got me in a hold where I couldn't do anything, so he could try and see if I had marks on my back.
Charming. Incredibly.
Mm-hmm. But I had a talk with them somewhat recently, and at least she explained to me that at the time, he was expecting me to be someone like Viviana.
Oh. That does not excuse, but it does explain that sort of reaction.
That's pretty much what I said.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Like, I can't say I trust them fully, but helps me take things into perspective at the very least.
That is fair. I suppose I didn't interact with her all that much. I don't know if I have a personal opinion, but I do think that I'd rather have Vast be on our side than against us, from everything I've heard.
I think them telling us about the Avacane at the party and them helping train us at the dojo is a good step in the right direction, I think.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I don't see them swoop someone else that hasn't done anything.
That is fair. I would be quite questioning Or concerned, I suppose, if I saw that. Or were spooked myself, I suppose.
I don't think I'm as good as Vast at fighting, but I do certainly have some skills with an axe, so if it ever happens again, I am going after her.
You were impressive at the dojo opening.
Thank you. Swords are not my specialty, but not much different from axes. Though, certainly needs to work on my dodging.
That's fair. I'm the opposite. I feel like I need to work on my hitting.
I noticed you were, like, very observant with your fighting. Just, like, moving a lot, looking at your opponents a lot, very strategic, and just going for hits you were more certain would hit.
It felt... My fighting experience before the dojo was essentially climbing into a tree and throwing rocks at things that want to kill me until they go away. I am not made. I am made for paper and ink and books and stories. I am not made for fighting. I do have this, but I'm not very good.
You seem to be a good shot, though.
I'm fine enough in an emergency situation, but when the thing that happened at the library was there were a lot of zombies and creepers that showed up, and I fumbled with the release of the crossbow quite a bit.
Oh.
I did shoot, I think, 1 or 2 of them. But truth to be told, I think Alma and Pietro did the majority. Which makes sense, since they are the stronger and more experienced ones.
And I imagine that's when Pietro hit armor?
Yes, it was really fast. It was just... Pietro got really sort of laser focused, and she didn't mean to. I don't think so. It wasn't a purposeful hit towards armor. It was more just being too in the moment, I suppose. Like the metaphorical red cloth in front of a bull's eye. Even though that doesn't make sense because bulls can't see the color red. I never fully understood that because it makes no sense. But then again, there's also phoenixes hatching out of eggs, which also doesn't make sense for a bird that keeps reincarnating, so...
I haven't heard too much about this phoenix thing.
I am entirely lost about it, but there's at least 2 phoenixes. I have seen at least 2 phoenix eggs. One of them was with armor, the other one was with Gavrin. They had a strange energy about them. The eggs, not armor and Gavrin. And I don't understand why a phoenix would hatch out of an egg. Because all the stories about phoenixes talk specifically about them living, getting old, dying in flames, and then being reborn out of their own ash.
That sounds pretty cool to me. And the spirits think it's pretty cool too.
I suppose it is, but none of the stories mention eggs. And now I hear not only are phoenixes real and not out of the realm of fiction. No, they have eggs. Which I guess, maybe... I'm wondering if that means that if the baby phoenix dies in the egg, does it just get reincarnated in the egg? Is there another egg inside of the egg, if that happens?
Good question.
The implications of that are very concerning to me. The implications are...
Unless the egg... unless something like very bad happened at their last death, so now, while they regenerate, they're in an egg for protection.
That I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I don't fully understand the whole Phoenix thing. I thought they were fictional until very recently. I also thought that the obelisks were fictional until very recently. I thought a lot of things were fictional, and then Virgil showed me their conspiracy board mind map thing. And just so many things on there. He's a very busy researcher.
Yeah, it helps understand a lot more perspectives.
True. It's very compact. All of the things happening and being awful. I don't know. There's so many things happening in this place, and I'm not entirely sure if I prefer it that way or if I wish I lived in a less intense area. But I suppose this is the first area I actually ever really managed to make friends and, I don't know, be part of a community. So as far as places goes, this is not too bad.
Yeah, it's like we said, it's definitely one of, if not the most accommodating place I've ever visited. But even with like the beacons and all of that, it seems to be some place that's at least more reinforced, at least has some protection from preventing the island from falling.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely never... I mean, the beacons alone, the work that Runthian is putting into stabilizing everything, from what I hear, it's impressive, to say the very least.
And I know a lot of people here are willing to fight to protect it, so I guess I find comfort in that a bit.
That is fair. I'm still reeling a little bit because I've never been in a place long enough to feel connected enough to it, want to fight for it if it came down to it. I'm not really a fighter, I've said that, but if I needed to, I would. I think, for this place and for the people here.
And is that feeling a bad thing?
It is a new thing, and I'm not good with new things.
Yeah.
But new things aren't bad. I just need to... A lot of new things have happened here, but a lot of good things have happened here, so maybe new isn't... Maybe new is just, like, pretty. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I don't know. I feel like I'm bringing down the mood in some way.
You're good. I was trying to find a good moment just to say that if you do want to practice with your... God damn it, I forgot the word for it.
Crossbow?
Yes. I had arbalete in mind, but that's not the correct language.
It happens sometimes. I don't fully speak another language, but someone in my life must have, because I remember words from another language, and I remember songs that are decidedly not this language.
Yeah, I think I have. I think I do too. But yeah, if you want to practice the crossbow, like I said, I definitely need some practice with evading. So if you want to do a little bit of training together, you practicing on moving targets and me avoiding it,
Perhaps, but it sounds like we should have someone with medical experience nearby, though, just in case.
Yeah,
or at least definitely. A lot of potions.
Maybe like armor, just to help us both with teachings and stuff. I think armor was pretty well prepared, actually, with the dojo, so...
Yes. They said that he wanted to set up some targets for long-range shooting practice, I guess. That was before everything went... No, it was after.
No, the dojo was like last week?
No, it was...
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember if Armor said the thing about setting up targets before or after Pietro accidentally hit him.
I think I remember Arma saying something at the dojo opening.
Mm-hmm. He said it again. This... I don't know. Time is strange, especially if you worry about people flying places and void sickness and things that want to kill you and weird magic cults and phoenixes and all sorts of things. There's a lot happening all of the time.
Yeah, I definitely get that. But I guess the best we can do is try to be optimistic about it, or try to prepare for the worst.
True.
Hope for the best and... What was it? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst?
Mm-hmm. That seems like a good way of going about it at any rate.
Mm-hmm. Are you enjoying the tea at least?
I am. It's... As much as I like being at the library, and I do, I mean, I spend pretty much nearly 100% of my time in there. Sometimes I leave and go to my house to sleep. Sometimes I just sleep in the library.
Well, open invitation again, especially since we're apparently going to this family dinner together. But
apparently so.
If you want some company, I would definitely not say no to hanging out with you.
I appreciate it. As long as you don't... I do have a book to read to some birds. If you don't mind that.
Then would you mind if I hung out with you at the library? I have mine as well that I could probably try continuing. That's the wrong book. I think it's this one. Yeah. I have a book on some biomes and I might continue it. If you don't mind, again, me
Of
just
course.
tagging along, kind of being a body double.
Working alongside each other is always a pleasure.
Again, I know we only kind of just encountered each other like once before, but you're very lovely.
Thank you. I'm not entirely used to people not finding me unlikable. That is also a new thing.
Come on. Didn't you say you have a book to read?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I think going back through the village will be the best bet, and also, I think the most well-lit up path.
True, yes. The less things that want to kill us we have to encounter, the better.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Mostly,
definitely... I still feel bad for it. When I went to see Gavrin, I didn't know exactly how to get to her place. Other than vaguely it's past runes, so I shortcut through runes' yard and climbed over a fence.
But yeah, I don't know if your eyes are good enough, but can you see the floating, like, island over there?
Vaguely, I think.
Okay. There's kind of a spiral staircase under it, and there's a little, like, gazebo or little area under a tree, and if you're ever wanting some company, I stay over there most of the time.
Good to know. I'll keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. So I don't remember if I gave you my comm info, so just... This is for you.
Thank you. There is a cat. There's just a cat here.
Oh, hi, little guy. I'm happy I don't have the bird instincts to just like fly away from the cat at least.
I mean, at least the cat's not... Hello, Mr. Flamingo. Hello, Flamingo number 2. Will you let me through? Thank you.
Flamingo and flamingos.
If Mojave were here, they would probably make some sort of remark about how they do not like flamingos. Which does not feel fair. I feel like they can't dislike an entire species of bird just because they have one X that they don't like.
Yeah.
But then again, that's just me. What do I know? I don't... I don't exactly have experience in that department.
Can I have a vendetta against well, not entire species of bird, but like some very specific birds because one of them decided to steal my earring?
Do you want to know which kind of bird that was? It sounds very magpie-ish, but it doesn't sound like the magpie avian around here.
Not even.
Oh goodness. What type was it then?
Sorry, your head was on backwards for like half a second. Red macaws.
Can you say that again? I didn't...
Red macaws.
Oh. I didn't know they went for shiny things. I thought that was more of a Corvid thing.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know, it was just perching on my shoulder one day and just... I felt it nibble around my ear and it just flew off with my earring.
Goodness gracious. I don't know, I don't have any particularly strong feelings about any species of anything, really, I don't think. I don't have strong feelings about animals or people based on their species. You're just carrying torches with you?
Yes.
That is actually really smart.
Do you not?
When I say I am usually in the library, I mean I'm in the library or I am in the house over there behind the trees. That is the two places I am. Both of those have lights.
Fair enough. It's also because you said that you had some zombie troubles yesterday with the library, so I'm like, I am not taking any chances, especially with how they're looking these days.
That is understandable. Especially... The zombies were fine. As far as a zombie can be fine. There were a lot of the fully voided creepers, which is...
Oh.
They seem to be more voided creepers around than the ones that aren't, which is incredibly concerning.
Yeah, I tend to see them a lot more on the lower islands, so seeing as this one is particularly elevated, it's concerning.
Yeah, we didn't really see any that voided ones before up here. We're usually pretty safe between all of the lanterns on the library and...
Mm-hmm. And I can see that, like, especially around the edge of the island here, it's not the best illuminated, maybe in this corner too, but...
Yes.
I can, like, think that zombies could spawn, but the void creepers is concerning, to say the least.
True. Very much so. Hello, you two. I hope that if Virgil was here while I was not, I hope you relayed the message that their brother is fine. Otherwise, you're doing a very bad job at being guard ravens.
I hope you two are doing well, though. Nice to see you again.
I may have sounded a little bit harsh toward them.
No, you're good.
It was an attempt at a joke. Did you want a desk, or are you good to just...
No, I think,
Oh,
I did not mean to do that. I just wanted a pouch.
What is it? Everybody does this. The amount of times I've seen Virgil just jump down these stairs on purpose. At least you just slipped.
On purpose?
Yes. Wait, how did he phrase this? He doesn't have a problem with jumping, he has a problem with landing, I believe was the phrasing.
Yeah, I've been witness to those landings a few times.
Yes, it's... I don't remember what page I was on, so I might just start on the beginning again.
Go ahead.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single person in possession of a great fortune must be in want of a spouse. However little known the feelings or views of such a person may be on their first entering in a neighborhood, this truth is so well fixed.